Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, children, men and women, girls especially. It is my pleasure to welcome you here on the gender solution session on the structural approaches to social development, leadership for women and girls. I will start with few technical issues. After I introduce myself, my name is Gabriela Hrabaňová. I am the director of the Ergo Network, European Roma Grassroots Organization Network, and I'm here together with the Global Forum of People Discriminated Based on Work and Descent. We have a translation. We have translation to Spanish and English. Spanish, it's on channel number 2, número 2, español. And English, it's on number 1. So we will have a number 3. Okay. And we also have a translation in English for the later speaker who actually will speak in Spanish, so please take your headsets. We are also being recorded here by the UN TV, so everything is being directly streamed to the UN online TV. We are very grateful for this, so just for you to know. Also, if you have later intervention, you can find yourself at the TV. And what is very important for us that we are creating a safe space. Our organization, we have a code of conduct, and we very much value the space that we are creating together, that we are kind and respectful to each other, and we can trust each other in every intervention and interacting we have among ourselves. Today, we are here in Doha for the second World Summit for Social Development, and we want to explore the structural reforms and inclusive leadership which can help us to advance the development for all women and girls. The session which we are having right now, it builds directly on the UN Women Policy Brief that was done on women and girls belonging to the Communities Discriminated Based on Work and Descent, CDWD. You will hear a lot of reference to this group today. And connects to the broader global agendas. We are coming from the Beijing Plus 30 to the 2030 agenda, from the Copenhagen Declaration to today's commitments on equality and decent work. Our focus is on visibility, data, and accountability, ensuring that women and girls from CDWD communities are no longer invisible in the public space, and we are part of the social development strategies and global frameworks. We will discuss how public services, labor markets, and justice system can be transformed into true instruments of equality and social inclusion, enabling every woman and girl to participate fully and equally in political, social, and economical life. This conversation will also echo growing recognition across regions. So we would hear about African Commission Resolution 619, UN Women Policy Brief, and also a call by the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, that he included the descent-based discrimination on the global high human rights agenda. And together, these milestones are making shift from recognition to responsibility, from the data gaps to the data justice. And today, we hear voices from Africa, Latin America, Europe, Asia, and we want to explore together the solutions on the community-driven models that are redefining what inclusive social development looks like. And I also want to give you an invitation to the exhibition. Our groups, CDWD groups, under the Global Forum for People Discriminated Based on Work and Descent, we have a stand on the Inclusivity Project in the room number 6 in the exhibition hall. And I might actually go directly for opening first. Thank you all for coming here today. It's a great pleasure to have you here with us in person, but also those who are watching us. Greetings to the online participants. And we would like to start with the discussion or setting the context, the global context. And for this, it is my pleasure to invite His Excellency, Lok Bahadur Kappa. He's from the permanent representative of Nepal to the United Nations, but also very importantly for us and for everybody here, you are also elected president of the UN Economic and Social Council, the ECOSOC. Welcome here. And we would like to share you some insights. So if you would like to use the panel, please, the floor, it's yours.
Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, very good actually to be connected, reconnected, because I have met many times some of the colleagues, and we have talked about the issues you are raising. First, allow me to begin by thanking the Global Forum of Communities Discriminated on Work and Dissent and the UN Women for convening these very important conversations and for your kind invitations to join you today. Dear colleagues, the current global challenges compel us to act with unity, solidarity, and decisive resolve to advance effective solutions where every person has an equal stake in prosperity. Coming from Nepal, an LDC, an LLDC, mountainous and vulnerable country, I have seen firsthand how effective social development policies are in having a visible and positive impact on society, the economy, and the environment when opportunities are secured for the full participation and contributions of women and girls. This is why, as President of ECOSOC, I have chosen key priorities in which to advance transformative and inclusive policy guidance. My priorities are designed to speak to the needs of the most vulnerable countries and communities, as well as spotlight innovative ideas to create tangible changes. These include food security and agriculture, youth entrepreneurship and digital technologies, climate adaptations with a focus on glacier lake outburst floods in the mountainous region, and financing for development. The issues of gender equality and countries in special situations, including LDCs, LLDCs, SEEDs, and African countries, will serve as cross-cutting themes during my presidency. To advance these priorities, we must recognize that gender-responsive policies are not optional. They are essential to advance social development. Second, we must embed gender perspectives into all stages of policy design and implementation to foster equitable societies and ensure that communities discriminated on work and dissent are not left behind. Third, we must create inclusive platforms that amplify the voices of marginalized communities to enable them to shape decisions that affect their lives or your lives. Fourth, and finally, we must promote global dialogues on equitable development, equality, inclusion, and social justice to strengthen collective actions and transformative change, inspire transformative change. This is where ECOSOC's role remains crucial. Dear colleagues, we'll be commemorating the 80th anniversary of ECOSOC on 23rd of January 2026. This will be a unique opportunity to spotlight the agility and responsiveness of ECOSOC to the needs of the most vulnerable and to embrace more vigorously the principle of leaving no one behind. Let us commit today to build policies that do not just promise inclusion but deliver it. Let us ensure that every voice, especially those of the most marginalized, is heard, respected, and empowered. Together, we can transform commitments into realities and create a future where equality, dignity, and social justice are not aspirations, but lived experience for all. I invite you to engage in and contribute to the work of ECOSOC as it is your platform for inclusive dialogue. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. We're really grateful for your work. And the picture. Okay, so I might invite to make a nice continuation. I might invite the panelists already here. So we have Queen from Africa, Kunjani from Nepal, Nesrin, Neris from Colombia, and then me on behalf of the Roma people here. And if we might ask you for one question, for one photo before we go, yes. And if you will hold our paper that you can ask for you can hold it for us. Yeah. Salve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wish you all the best.
Come closer. Good. So, from the everything okay? Okay. So, from the high-level opening, we are going to move right now to the regional perspectives. We are having here leaders, women leaders that are coming from all around the globe, representing the CDWD women here at the UN grounds, if we can say, the World Social Summit. It's a milestone of its own, but also for us, being here in such a number as a delegation of CDW women and men, it's always an important milestone as well. And I'm having the speakers here coming from the different continents. Just maybe briefly, we have Queen from Africa, Neris Isabel from Latin America, Kunjani from Asia. Myself, I'm coming from Europe, representing the Roma people. And I would like to start with Queen Biseng. She's a leading human rights advocate from Cameroon, and she's a prominent voice representing communities discriminated based on work and descent, and in Central Africa. And she works with the Global Forum on CDWD, and she's an iconic voice, along with the other activists, ensuring that the resolution on CDWD is passed in African Commission on Human and People Rights. And we have a question for Queen to tell us a little bit more about how can African governments, in line with the African resolution, address the key barriers of the CDWD women and girls. And we know that that's a hard time to access the education, healthcare, and the decent work. So how we can actually make sure that there is the data and the policy framework that ensure the inclusive and equitable development. Queen, the floor is yours.
Thank you, moderator. Thank you, colleagues. I speak today from the perspective of women from communities discriminated and work and decent across Africa, women who, despite generation of exclusion, continue to lead, organize, and reimagine what justice and dignity mean for all of us. Yes, 2 years ago, a resolution was adopted. It is a milestone. The resolution 619, adopted by the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, which is an organ of the African Union. After several advocacies, this resolution was adopted to promote and protect the rights of communities discriminated on work and decent across the continent. We see the promise of this resolution, which calls for recognition, data inclusion, as you just mentioned, and policy transformation. Yet, for millions of these women belonging to decent and work-based communities, often labeled as servile, caste, or marginalized, access to education, healthcare, and decent work remains deeply unequal. These barriers are not just accidental. They are as a result of systemic inequalities, invisibilities, where descent and occupation determine social value, where girls are kept out of schools because of family identity, where women in traditional occupation are underpaid, stigmatized, or excluded from formal labor protections, and where maternal health care services fail to reach those at the social margins. If we are to honor this resolution, we must move from acknowledgement to institutional actions that begins with data collection, because what is not counted is not seen. Government must integrate decent and work-based discrimination indicators into their national data system, census tools, and sustainable development goals monitoring frameworks. This is essential not just for statistics, but for shaping inclusive and evidence-based policies. The African Commission on Human and People's Rights has already recognized discrimination based on work and decent as a human rights violation, urging states to take proactive measures. Government must know and also align with this mandate, ensuring that ministries of education, labor, healthcare include CDWD, women in the policies design, implementation, and monitoring. But beyond data and policy, this is about transforming social development. When CDWD women have access to equal education, healthcare, and decent livelihood, it does not only lift individuals, but it revitalizes communities. It strengthens the local economy, and it accelerates the African Union Agenda 2063 for inclusive growth. We must therefore ensure that the national equality framework, social protection schemes, and development budgets explicitly recognize decent-based discrimination as a barrier to gender equality. Government should partner with grassroots organizations. Government should partner with women organizations, recognizing life experience as essential to designing responsive, transformative policies. As African women, our struggle is not just for inclusion, it is for transformation. It is to rewrite the social contract so that no woman worth is determined by her birth, her community, or her labor. The African Resolution on Human and People's Rights guidance give us the tools. What we need now is the political will. What we need now is to translate recognition into rights, data into dignity, and policy into justice. Thank you, moderator.
Thank you very much, Queen, and thank you for your tireless work that you are doing in Africa. because your leadership, it means a lot for the people, for the discriminated people on work and dissent, but also for us here at the global level, because you are bringing the voice here and you are making sure that it's being heard on the local level, national, regional, but also on the global level where we can share it together and encourage the others also for the actions. Saying this, we have another very important grassroots leader coming from Colombia. It's Neris Isabel Barrios Reyes, and she's from the Palenque women group in Latin America. And she's dedicating her work to advance the rights and social development of Afro-descent CDWD women and girls through community organizing, cultural preservation, and data-driven advocacy. We have Neris here. She will speak in Spanish. So for those who need, please use your headsets, and I'm giving floor to Neris. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Neris Isabel. I am Neris Isabel Barrios Reyes, a woman from Palenque. I come from a land that was free before freedom and laws.
Liberado por la lucha de los palenqueros 2 siglos antes
2 centuries ago,
de la independencia.
before independence in Colombia,
Las mujeres palenqueras
San Basilio de Palenque. Traditionally, being a palenquera woman is not just wearing
historia, pero también sufrimos opresión.
wearing colorful dress that bear history resistant.
Discriminadas por trabajo y ascendencia.
Women belonging to communities discriminated
Vivido
against on work and descent face multiple forms of oppression. The intergenerational nature of discrimination based on descent
mujeres
often
por pertenecer a una comunidad
condemns us to a life marked
por las situaciones de racismo,
by exclusion,
histórica.
marginalization, and disadvantage in all spheres of society.
Esta situación no solamente la enfrentan las mujeres,
This kind of discrimination also functions
también mujeres
as a mechanism
de la India,
of social control.
Mauritania y romaníes en toda Europa.
This kind of burden is carried away for the late sister in India, Harati in Mauritania, and Roman in Europe. Women from communities discriminated against by work and descent who face the same invisible chains of exclusion, poverty, and stigma. In Colombia, Palenquera women have traditionally been relegated
Carencia
to selling fruit on street, a situation that still exists in several cities in the Colombian Caribbean.
y las niñas de nuestra comunidad para acceder a la educación,
We say that the body can be tired, but the spirit does not give up.
tener derecho a la participación.
We need rights to participate.
Se requieren programas
This is what I call Palenquero feminism, the daily struggle of the women who supports the house, educates the children, and challenges without theoretical discourses the norms that we like to see her silent and dependent, even San Basilio de Palenque.
Finalmente, necesitamos
We also need programs, budgets that can support all the projects
para comercializar nuestros productos.
to we can sell our products. The Colombian state had promoted programs to revalue and amplify Palenquera culture, promoting inclusion in education,
Participación,
responsible tourism, and cultural policies.
la mejora de la calidad de vida de nuestras mujeres.
We need to improve the quality of life of our women. These good practices
Palenquera,
represent a step
somos más
in the right direction, a necessary recognition of our history in our contribution to national identity.
resistentes y resilientes.
However,
Veamos
efforts to improve our living conditions are still insufficient. It is essential to design strategies that listen to us from our own voices, apply a differential approach in the ancestral territory of Palenque, and promote training program in income management, product marketing, development of social skill, and financing of our enterprises. We are here to give to the world we will keep going. We will be doing that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and thank you for highlighting the work, but also the needs that you are having for supporting your work on the ground. I think this also counts for all the communities we are facing. We are doing really an important work. Without us, very often the communities would not have access to the basic services, to be recognized or to be heard at the national level, or the local or the national level. But very often we miss the resources. We missed also the support from the outside and the recognition. Sometimes it's just to be visible, but very often it's also to recognize with practical or financial support. So thank you for also highlighting that. And I would like to move now to a contribution that was actually prepared by Simona Torotkor. She's my colleague. She's a Roma scholar and activist. And she cannot be here now because she is introducing in the roundtable number 1. She's one of the listed contributors today there, and we are waiting. She's waiting actually on her turn. So I will just relay on her behalf. And we wanted to share that practically bringing this experience of Romani woman to the picture, because it's an important mosaic in the whole CDWD group that we are representing here. And we want to make this remark on the experience of women and girls within the communities, of women who are often rendered invisible within the invisible. And Simona, she also wanted to share with you a piece of the artifact that is coming from our community, which is a Roma scarf. We call it a Romani diklo, which is a traditional Roma scarf that we are bringing here. And this is also how who we are. We are a people shaped by resilience, survival, and persecution. And we are carried by our culture, and we are also the builders of community. Across countries and generations, many Romani women wear diklo as a simple square of cloth folded into the triangle, around their head or shoulders, and it holds layers of history, dignity, and strength. For generations, diklo has been worn by married Roma women as a symbol of modesty, respect, but also identity and belonging. It became the act of quiet resistance, a declaration: we are still here. Today, younger Roma women, myself, little bit included, but Simona, she still count there. We reclaim this symbol as a cultural pride and visibility. And in activist spaces as protest, where at global forums, diklo becomes more than fabric. It becomes a message. And this message is that we Roma women and women from all communities discriminated based on work and descent, we refuse the invisibility. That we will be seen, heard, and respected as equal partners in the global struggle for social justice and human development. And in the spirit of visibility, dignity, and collective resilience, we are doing this address today. Here at the Second World Summit for Social Development, we are not here just to have conversation about poverty and inclusion, but about recognitions, about ensuring that no community, no woman, no girl is left unseen or unheard in our shared pursuit of equality. Our women experience human rights abuses on multiple intersecting grounds based on their gender and their descent. We see this intersectional cruelty manifest across every facet of life. In our realm, poverty of economic exploitation and statistics are stark. They are out of 4 women, Roma women, which make 70% across Europe, remain at the risk of poverty, representing a 54 percentage point gap compared to the EU average. The extreme deprivation is intensified for Roma women, systematically overrepresented in the most exploitative forms of labor, including informal services, sectoral jobs, domestic work, agricultural piecework, often without wages, recognition, or legal protection. In the realm of legal invisibility and violence, Roma women are actually vulnerable. Women and girls often face difficulties in civil registration procedures and in obtaining vital documents, which increases their risk of statelessness and deprive them of access to the basic services, including the healthcare. Gender-based violence is frequently deployed as a tool to maintain the low status of other communities. When DWD women seek justice for crimes committed against them, they often face a culture of impunity for perpetrators, coupled with multiple barriers to justice, including the legal literacy. There is more to share, but also let me drive on the UN Women Policy Paper and on collective expertise that we ask that the summit adopt and concrete actionable commitments that address the intersectional realities of CDW women and girls. We really believe that the member states should adopt and strengthen comprehensive anti-discrimination legislation. Governments must guarantee universal social protection and decent work for women and girls from communities, DWD. This includes minimum wage coverage, maternity protection, safe working conditions, but also that affected women and communities must be the center of the policy design, monitoring and implementations. And we really believe that if state would invest in institutionalizing the participation and in leadership, which would include having women, DWD, in planning processes at all levels, this is the only way we can ensure the development that is co-created within those most impacted by discrimination. So that's the words that Simona wanted to narrate to you. I'm very happy to be the messenger. And yeah, I would just highlight that altogether we are making 270 million people at this global arena, including the Dalits, the Palenque, Quilombolo, or the people in like Haratins in Africa, Roma in Europe. And practically we have to make sure that our voice is being heard. And to finalize this picture here, we have here, I mentioned already, a Dalit representative, Kunjali Pariyar. She's a CDWD rights expert from Nepal. She's advocating for Dalit women communities discriminated based on work and descent. She's focusing very much on grassroots empowerment, policy advocacy, social development, and making sure that marginalized voices are visible. And we would like her to contribute with the knowledge, with the expertise, and the policy and advocacy approach that you can bring for us from the Asia Dalit perspective.
Thank you so much, Gavi, for excellent introduction. Hello, everyone. Today, I'm standing before you wearing a full sleeve clothes, something simple but yet deeply symbolic. But my ancestors were forbidden to wear full sleeve clothes and gold ornaments simply because of their caste. I represent that caste, and I'm a Dalit youth woman from Nepal. I hold multiple identities with myself. I come here not just as a Dalit woman from Nepal, but also as a lawyer, also as a youth, also as an activist, and also as a daughter of the street vegetable vendor women. Yes, my mother was a street vendor who quietly accepted discrimination so that her children could survive and get education. My mother's name never appeared in the government's registrations, yet her struggle shaped my journey. That silence, that invisibility is the story of millions of Dalit and CDWD women all around the world, including Asia. Across our region, Dalit women remains the backbone of informal rural economics and urban slum economics, yet they are denied recognition, rights, and representations. They clean our cities, stitches our clothes, recycle our waste, grow vegetables, but are excluded from the benefits of the very economic they sustain. And it is social, political, religious, and economic structures that marginalized us. In Nepal, nearly 68% of the Dalit women work in informal and unpaid labor, earning on average 45% less than non-Dalit men. So you can see the difference. In India, 9 of 10 women inbounded in forced labor belongs to Dalit or Adivasi communities. If we truly seek social development, we must go beyond the charity and confront the structure that create and sustain inequality. Because social development is not just about building economics, it's about rebuilding human dignity and respect to those who have never been subordinated for centuries. If development continues to ignore those who are in the bottom, it will reproduce inequality and marginalizations in new form. So, when we ask what kind of interventions are most needed, I believe the answer lies on the structural justice, not symbolic inclusion. Allow me to share 3 critical pathways that can transform social development from promise to practice. The pathways I'm going to talk about is not about my own life, but it also includes the features that features the life of the Dalit communities I observed over the last 2 decades. First one is recognition and redistribution. Social development must be recognized unpaid and underpaid labor. Dalit and CDWD women contributed in economic growth, yet they are rarely counted as workers. Policies must guarantee living wages, social protection, maternity rights, access to credit, and occupational safety, especially in sectors like domestic work, waste collection, sanitation, and agriculture. We need systems to redistribute opportunity, not just welfare. When social protection is rooted in rights, not in charity, it transforms women from passive beneficiaries into rights holders. Second, we must have data and voice from the margins. Data is the most important and powerful tools for social development. Yet, too often, the data that define progress exclude us. By data, I mean not just numbers. I also mean the lived stories and struggles they lived. How can we design inclusive policies when Dalit women realize that they are not measured and understand? How can we claim progress when marginalized voice is unheard? When grassroots women's voices are collected, that becomes the story. The statistics should be, the statistics should not just count her, they should tell her story. And we lack that. Third and most important, we want leadership, not tokenism. Social development requires leadership from the people who lived in exclusion, not who just studied what is exclusion means. Across Asia, representation of Dalit women and marginalized women in the local government remains far low than promised level, despite we have a constitutional measures, constitutional guarantees. Leadership initiatives from marginalized women and youth are often stopped at short-term training and symbolic appointments. But what we truly need is long-term investment. Because when a Dalit women lead, the development priorities shift from welfare to dignity, from policy to practice, and from silence to justice. When a Dalit woman entered in a courtroom as a lawyer, when a Haratin woman registered her first business, when a Colombola woman sent her daughter to school or university, that is not just a personal success. It's a systematic transformation. I have witnessed this transformation. When grassroots women stand before the policymakers not as victims, but as a visionary and planner demanding inclusion, political right, access, and accountability. Their courage challenges the centuries of exclusion. Their leadership defines the development again. So, as we discuss the solution today, let us ensure gender-responsive and youth-friendly policy are not just add-ons on the development, but it's a foundation for the development. Let us build a system that see, hear, and value us from every background, not just choose who are privileged by caste, class, and geography. Let us make her as a part of our collective story. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kunjani. Thank you for highlighting that there is a need for the structural changes and for making sure that our voices are being heard. And it's not just the voices, but it's the stories that we are bringing from the ground. Those things which are making the change, but also those voices of the struggle. Those stories that would help us to grow, but those stories that would also contribute to the change on the global level. So thank you for sharing your work and also the encouragement for the other groups. And before moving to the open discussion that we would also like to keep a few minutes here, I would like to invite Chiara Kaur. She's author of the youngest TEDx speaker, youngest speaker at the United Nations Climate Change Conference COP28, youngest keynote speaker of the World Expo, and youngest speaker at the UN Women. And today you are also youngest speaker at our side event. It's a very big pleasure to have you here. And please, we will be very happy to hear from you. What you want to share with us? Oh, you have a microphone.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, I want to thank Gabriella for inviting me to share my thoughts on gender equality and social progress. And also, a big congratulations to all the wonderful panelists who shared their amazing perspectives about social development. As a 9-year-old, to me, social progress means creating a world where every person, no matter their gender, background, or situation, can live with freedom, dignity, and purpose. It's about building compassionate, protective, and empowering societies by enhancing global cooperation. Though after 30 years in Copenhagen, progress is undeniable, but still, millions of people face extreme poverty, and more than 1.1 billion face the multidimensional deprivations in health, education, and living standards. True social progress, to me, is when you see a girl in a distant village who can attend school, when a young woman can go to work without fear or bias, and when an elderly senior woman is treated with care and respect like they should be. It's a world where no one is forgotten or left behind. As a 9-year-old, I am very much confident that the young people are superheroes because our voices not only amplify the importance of social protection as a human right, but also bring fresh perspectives to global discussions on poverty reduction, gender equality, and social inclusion. I am positive and ready for a future powered by inclusion, innovation, and integrity. And youth play a vital role here by turning these ideas into impact by using creativity, innovation skills, and digital power to promote inclusion, protect the planet, and build communities where everyone has the voice so that the wonderful world that God has made can be better every day. We are here to restore optimism, achieve tangible outcomes, and strengthen our sheer dedication to ensuring dignity and equality for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kiara. Thank you for sharing the optimism. You're very strong. Stay with us. It's a pleasure to have you here. There is a seat exactly made for you. So stay with us here. I think that's actually, especially for women and girls, it's important to have a girl also at our panel. So thank you for joining us, but also for sharing, I would repeat it, the optimism, because I think that what we are doing here, we are building the world for the future generation. And I think that only together we can actually make the meaningful change. And if you are already able at such an age to actually say and articulate what are the needs and being positive about the changes which is coming, it's amazing. So thank you for sharing here with us. And I know that we talk about the 30 years since the Copenhagen, but look what actually 9 years did to one person, which is like a full accomplished person, and what can actually we achieve in the 30 years together. So I just hope that we don't need to wait another 30 years to actually see the change for CDWD groups, but in maybe another few years, we might actually have a little bit more tangible impact on our communities, our work supported, our work being more visible, but also included in the mainstream policies, and our voice being heard. And for this, because we are not here alone, and we always want to also engage you in the conversation, we have few microphones here ready. I would like to ask you also if you want to contribute to the discussion. It can be either the questions to the panelists, or it can be also the comments from your own perspective. Maybe you are also one of the marginalized groups that you would like to share the voice. Yes, please. Yes. Father Vinay. Yes. So I'm connecting here and then go there. Thank you. It should work.
Thank you very much for these beautiful conversations that have come from 5 of you, and particularly my fantastic. It was really very good. I want to have a twin questions addressed to Queen for the general understanding of all of us. What would be the significance of you mentioned the resolution passed by the Africa Region Council. So what would be the significance of this resolution for the CDWD communities? And secondly, in what way can we use that resolutions for the empowerment, development and progress of the leadership of women and girls? You can just enlighten us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will collect 2-3 questions, and then we will give the space to the panelists to answer. I know, you take hold of it, Navin. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity, and I would like to appreciate all the panelists for your amazing opening speech. I'm from Ethiopia, and I have an initiative that works on women and youth. We empower in our community, and my question also goes to Queen. Since she's from Africa, I feel she can relate to our challenge and struggles. Also, other panelists can also address the question. My main question is also like a suggestion. I would like to speak about minimum wage because everything depends on financial inclusion. If a person is independent or have a good income, they can take care of themselves and their family. But when we don't provide enough resource and income, they need to struggle, and they can't send their children to school. And regardless how we promote and advocate for education, it goes back to financial inclusion. So my question is, how can we advocate for, not only advocate, to whom we are taking the question about minimum wage? Because in my country, Ethiopia, we don't have minimum wage. Most people get paid in dollar, almost like between $45 to $60 a month. What can we do with that money? Like a person who has a family, how can they survive? So they can't send their children to school, but they need to live, but they can't even pay their rent, and they don't have trust on the government. They don't have trust on anything, and they even sometimes say most advocacy things are just illusional. They are like talking. It's not to the ground. So my question is, how can we create a change? To who can we address this question? I'm a lawyer by profession and I'm an advocate. So how can we advocate better to change and influence this instead of discussing today, next year again, the same issue, the policy is still there. How can we make a practical change instead of just discussing and taking pictures, another summit. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your question. And we have Paul, and then one more then. Or whom do you have next? Did you see? So I saw Paul. So, and then I see you and you. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Very wonderful exposition of several issues that have come, especially also from dear young friend. One question to you, Gabby, and of course to all, but who paucity of time you can choose. There have been very clear explaining about the Africa resolution, and then we're talking about, Neris was talking about the situation of Palenque, and you were talking about the issue of Roma, and Kunjani was talking about the Dalit women. Now, aren't they very different issues? And how is it that you're trying to come together? Is it a matter of convenience? Or why should you have to do this? These are things that you should fight, regionally. So what is it that you feel will bring this issue to some kind of an effect on the ground, which you feel is critical, which may not be, or which should be or may not be possible at the regional level? So for me, this whole concept of the communities discriminated on work and dissent, do you think it is powerful enough to bring a coalition to bring effect on the ground? Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Good evening to everybody. I am Martina Aji Azaa. I'm from Cameroon. I'm a practicing lawyer from the crisis struck region for the last 9 years in Cameroon. And I lead an initiative empowering women and girls. I have a question. I think it will go to Queen. When women have leave, in Cameroon, for instance, they have a limited period of leave when they give birth. Where do we see the structural approach, or what policies do we see being put in place, and to which structures can these be addressed for women who become unpaid because they quit their jobs to take care of their children, and they are not paid within that period? How do we drive change towards their compensation? And also, what can be done to ensure that even when they have to go back to work, their children are still under or within their watch? Because many institutions don't have child spaces for nursing mothers, which I think is something that can be included in the work system. For instance, daycares around institution offices. Should it be run by private employers, or can the government do something about making that become a reality in our different governments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I might collect one more over there. Yes, and then we pause for the answers. We see how we are with the time, and then we may make one more round of questions. We still have little time.
Okay, I'm Santanam from India. I am also representing an organization called Laws Legal Action Advocacy Services. I have a lot of appreciation for the presenters today. Besides that, yesterday our Paul Dibagar gave me an opportunity to travel with Gabriela. During our journey, we could discuss a lot of things about Roma people. Really, very much really touching, and it was really moving me also. And I really appreciate you and the other panelists for taking our people's cause, not only locally, even to the international forum. So this is my first thing to appreciate all of you for taking a lot of initiative to bring freedom, liberation to our people. The second observation is this, that is, some of you, when you were speaking, told us that you have some constitutional protection for our people. Constitutional appreciation there is. But in India, we have certain statutory provisions, acts to protect our people, especially we call it Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes Protection Act we have. At the same time, to some of you, when you were speaking, people need to have certain safeguards when they do the traditional works. But here we have an act abolishing the manual scavenging. But do we have such provisions in your countries for our people? So this is my question and observation. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm closing the intervention at this very moment because we are getting close to the end, and I want also make sure that we have a time to answer. So you don't have to think, right? Okay. So we had several comments, but also some very concrete questions. So, Queen, do you feel
yeah, I can start.
good enough to answer the one on the minimum wage and then also the one on the maternal leave? And
yes, let me start with the one mentioned by Father Loy, the significance of this resolution in Africa. Yeah, it has a very huge significance because unlike other countries, similar issues like Paul mentioned, there are practically no laws protecting these communities. Wherever there is, application, implementation becomes an issue. Where there is, women are excluded. So this resolution is like a tool that communities can use to flag to the governments, to the states, saying, we have a regional resolution that protects our rights. If internally we are invisible, if internally you can't recognize us, at the regional level we are recognized. And because you are parties and signatories of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, you need to respect and you need to implement this resolution. It is very important for the African community and could also be used as an example to other at the regional level for Asia, Europe, and other institutions. Getting to answer to my sister in Ethiopia, I am so glad to have you because talking about CDWD, we have the Fuga community in Ethiopia. I don't know if you heard about them. Also very marginalized, set aside, and discriminated upon. Mentioning the issue of how can we advocate for minimum wage? This is a general issue that is not just linked to Ethiopia, but Africa and even above Africa. Where can you go to? More and more, we need to identify national human rights communities, national human rights institutions in our country, because some of them are partial, some are impartial, but you need to actually monitor and see where your national human rights institutions stand, because you can always advocate through them to reach out to the state or the institution that is supposed to listen to you. I imagine how difficult it is not being able to be included financially, not being able to send your children to school just because of the minimum wage that is not even sufficient to cook for the family at home. So we need to start the awareness and the advocacy at the local level, and engaging, partnershiping with other grassroots organizations to make sure that we are a strong force, identify the national human rights commissions within the country to actually partner with them, because they always liaise between the grassroots organization and the government, so that our voices should be heard through them to be able to reach out and solve some of these issues. For my sister from Cameroon, happy to have you. Yes, it's very, very deplorable to have this. I can remember when I gave birth to my daughter 2 months ago, I was called back to work. And it was really challenging and very difficult to be able to have just 3 or 2 months maternal leave when you just struggle between the pregnancy and giving birth. And like I mentioned to our sister, the awareness, the advocacy should start at the local level, where you need to actually reach out to the Ministry of Gender and Social Affairs, and not just as a person, and more working together as a group, as joining hands with other organizations to advocate for this issue, because alone it can never work. The answer we always have is that there are programs, there are measures taken to make sure that women are treated equally and even better. But in reality, that is not the case. It is then our role to do the advocacy, to create the awareness, and to point it out that you are saying that, but efficiently it is not the case. We need this, we need that. And when at the local level we are not heard, then we step in at the regional level, and their counterparts, their peers, and those leading at the regional level at the African Union will always bring them to order, because if they don't, there are other political implications that they are going to face. So yes, I think I got to answer these 3 questions, and I will give to the rest.
Yes, you did, Queen. Thank you very much. And I know this is not an easy thing to answer, because very often, and I think that's what I kind of sense very much when we talk about our work, like we want to have really the tangible impact. We want to change the life of the people. But very often this is also, which is very frustrating for us, something that we work really tirelessly. But we do advocacy, we do policies, we collect data, we change them in the policy briefs and policy papers, and then we go with them and knock on the doors, which are very often closed. But this is what we do, and we really try, and again and again and again, then the political system changed, the people changed, and then we have to knock again. And I think that maybe this is also why it's important that we go beyond our communities. This was the question, Paul, you asked. I think that us coming together, this is really important, because we might struggle alone. Me, when I started the work, I was a student activist on the local level. In Czech Republic, I was alone. I was the only Roma student in my university. And then suddenly I discovered there are other students in other universities. And we got together and we made a network of those students. And we were 30 the first year. Then we were 35, we were 40. And today there are 2,000 and even more Roma students in the Czech Republic, because over the 10 years there are more scholarships, there is more support. And also some of the people are making a little bit better life, so they can send children to school and afford to have the university support throughout the education. So I see that even for me, this connection, this networking was always important. Then I grow up a little bit more from the student life, And I discovered there are other Roma in in other cities, in other countries. And then I traveled to the world and I saw this other Roma in Macedonia, Roma in Romania, Roma in Spain, you know. Then we have Roma also in Brazil, we have Roma in Americas, we have Roma in Turkey. We have practically Roma everywhere. And then I connected with them. And then again, being happy from the one single person that made it somewhere. But here, and this was on the European level. And in European level, we do strong together. But on the global level, we are not so strong as Roma. So for us and for me, it was important to connect with the other groups. And when I hear the stories, and I think you heard them too today, I think we struggle the same. I think the injustice, the discrimination, the segregation, the marginalization, being out of the village, out of the cities, in the rural areas, or just, just because of having a surname, which actually directly tells you from which caste or which group you are. You don't want to struggle alone, You want to be, again, connected with more people. So I might say we are 20 million Roma in the world, but there is 270 million of people that are struggling the same, and it's big. I think this is the power that we have to use here on the global level. So for me, this is the importance. Yeah, I get passionate. I really much enjoy working with the people here. And I think that's something that we all have to kind of see. What we are thinking for ourselves, how we can connect. What are the experiences we can share? Maybe it can be the standardization of the data collection. Maybe we can see how we can collect the stories, how to engage with the local budgeting at the municipalities. Maybe it can be how to advocate better for ending discrimination in the maternity wards, or getting more strong voice for Roma women or women across the globe. So I think that each of us has to take this one, bring it back home, but don't feel alone, right? This is important. I'm checking the time because we are getting to the closure, and I actually will not get the floor to any of you anymore. I'll be the strong moderator at this very moment. I might still ask around here of one word, one sentence from each of you. What is the message that you want to send to our communities from here? Why this is important for you as well to be part, but really in the one sentence, not like me, the long one, if you can, and then we move to the closure.
This is a space that we can feel we are not alone. And this struggle, like as women discriminated, we can recognize our sufferings in the same situations as women, and also in a community, palenquera or whatever discriminated that we are being represented here now. I think globally we can have the opportunity to get together so we can realize a global project that allowed us transform the reality of our communities. This is the road, I think so. Let's get together from our communities. There are so many groups at all levels, Palenque, blacks, like in Colombia, but we are not working together. We need to get together, and in the way that we, as faster as we get close, we can transform the reality, in being more inclusive. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So my it's not like one sentence, but yeah, no matters where we come from, no matters what we are called, but in solidarity we have the same struggle and same stories. And if we want to see this real development, we should focus on inclusion, and inclusion of the women from all backgrounds. That includes CDWD women. And we don't want tokenism, we want real inclusion. we want leaderships, and we are ready for that. We are not just victims, we are leaders. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello. Yes, just saying, we were moving as isolated coalitions in Africa, in Europe, in Latin America, in Asia, and today we are moving as together. We are moving globally. We are moving as a forum, a global forum. As we push for the resolution to be adopted at the level of the African Commission, we are actually working so hard, pushing and advocating for a UN declaration to be adopted at the level of the United Nations, passing either through the General Assembly or the Third Committee. And we know if this declaration is adopted, it's for the benefit of all of us. So we call for your support, and most especially, we always say there is no disaggregated data, but you have the role to share the little data you have at the level of your community, at the level of your country, which we can actually rely on to continue sharing our stories, our experiences. Just to say one word, let's do that together. Thank you.
Education is the foundation to eliminate all forms of social injustice. Because when you educate a person, you not only educate that person, you educate their family, their siblings, and even the next generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you. You make me emotional. Thank you very much for your words, for all the words, for all being here today. It's important that we actually move to the end of this session. I think that we have a lot of powerful. That was a powerful session, and all speakers are bringing their vision, their commitments. But we are also all need to comment for the social development being changed in its structures. I mean, the structures need to be changed to make sure that the social development is happening. And we have to build it in our system through the laws, data, institutions that recognizes and include every woman and girl. There were a lot, we shared here a lot, but just maybe some kind of final takeaways. We have to invest in the data that makes the descent-based discrimination visible. We have to integrate CDWD women and girls into realities, into national and UN policy frameworks. We have to recognize the women organizations as knowledge producer, not just the beneficiaries. And we have to link our advocacy outcomes here in Doha to ongoing processes, from the UN Women Policy Follow-up to GFOT and the civil society advocacy towards the CSOCD and Beijing Plus 30. Because as it was said, together we can ensure that gender equality and social development, it's not just the parallel agendas, but one shared vision grounded in justice, equality, and human dignity. So thank you a lot, everybody. Especially I also want to thank our interpreter, Edna Flores, because she made a great work here to make sure that the inclusivity happens.